This episode, we're on a quest to find the most affordable luxury cruise out there. Because in life, we all want to treat ourselves from time to time, a little pampering. But we don't want to bankrupt ourselves in the process. So what if I told you there is a way to take an affordable luxury cruise and it's only slightly more expensive than a very ordinary, boring cruise, and far more indulgent? Would you believe me? Let's find out. Welcome back to the Ritzy Travel Guide. My name is Bill, and it's great to have you with us. This episode, it's all about affordable luxury cruising, and we're trying to find that special one, that magic ticket. But which luxury cruise should we pick? Because some are seriously expensive, and we wanted to do this on a controlled budget, but still leave a smile on our face. So, which cruise line did we choose? Azamara Cruise Lines. And the reason we chose to go with Azamara this time round is that right now they're offering some really attractive promotions, in fact have done for the last 6 months to a year, and their prices are a lot lower than similar segment contenders. So why? And that's what we wanted to find out, which is why we booked it. We're about to take you on board the ship any moment now, but for those of you who haven't heard of Azamara, they were originally the luxury arm of Royal Caribbean. They have 4 ships in their fleet, so it's relatively small. In 2021, the company was sold off by Royal Caribbean and went into private hands. So which of the 4 Azamara ships are we going to show you that we went on? It's the Pursuit. And we're going to split our coverage of Azamara across 2 videos. This is the first one. It's what we call the full review, where we'll show you the ship from top to bottom, what the ship looks like, its facilities, and whether we like the ship or not. The second video, which is coming out shortly, is all about the experience aboard, such as their Azamaze evening, their immersion events, and their famous White Night. Video 2 will also show you some of the ports we visited during our cruise. It was all around the Italian Riviera. You'll want to see that one. The second video is called Small Ship Luxury, from Rome to Monte Carlo. Azamara is an all-inclusive cruise line, which means pretty much everything is included in the price. But for a head start, that means it includes your drinks, tips and service, several gala and speciality evenings, and a lot of the restaurants aboard. So it's far more inclusive than most other cruise lines. In a moment, we're going to show you the outside of the ship, cabin, their deck areas, the alfresco dining, and the pool and jacuzzis. As always, we'll try to be as honest and fair as we can. Nobody has paid us or told us what to say. These are entirely our own opinions. Right, onto the ship we go. Here we go, Italian Riviera, 7-night cruise. In a lot of the ship reviews we do, it's all about how the ship looks, the size or the capacity. With Azamara, it's all about the feel. And the service starts the moment you get aboard, with a glass of sparkling wine and a personalised welcome. As you look around, you feel like you've walked aboard a floating country club. It's got a refined, elegant feel. There are feature staircases, swooping ceilings, lovely carpeting, and lots of wood and brass. Nothing feels overcrowded or rushed. It just feels relaxed. Walking throughout the ship, everything is immaculately maintained and really does feel premium. We're going to show you inside and out. Let's start outside first so you can get an idea of the size and scale of the ship. All of the ships in the Azamara range are almost identical. They were built about 25 years ago, and they're what you'd call small ship, with a passenger capacity of just about 700. It really does have that boutique badge. Compare that to today's giants such as Icon of the Seas, which has 7,000 passengers. That's 10 times as many and is a very different character of ship. Those are mass market theme park style. Luxury ships tend to look and feel totally different. So why would you consider these smaller, sometimes older ships? It's because of the passenger to staff ratio. Far more staff to look after a far smaller number of people. That's why boutique ships rarely feel full and often a lot more luxurious. Right, let's show you the pool area and then we'll head inside. Here I am looking down from the top deck. and you can see the layout is very spacious. There's a pool in the centre and a couple of hot tubs. You will notice how spacious the deck area is. And this is the theme of ships built a few years back. Traditional cruise ships, and let's call this one, made sure there was seating for everyone. And it makes the cruising experience much more pleasurable. I took these shots at the beginning of the day and early evening, but trust me, it never got too busy even at the most popular times. See what I mean? Plenty of space for the number of passengers aboard. All padded seats. Sometimes cruise lines cut corners. There's no padding. There is on these ones. There's a walking or a jogging track, which is perhaps small by today's standards, so you will have to go round and round. There you go, you'll have to do 14.5 laps to get in your mile. But don't worry, there is a gym aboard if you want to be more frenetic, and I'll show you that shortly. There's a variety of seating, including these hanging egg chairs. The perfect opportunity is to spin around and see the world from different angles. Let's now take a saunter around the ship. To us, one of the secrets for any cruise to have is a heart and soul, and Azamara is all about the joie de vivre. Let's now show you some of our favourite spots on the Azamara Pursuit. There are a few lounge areas aboard. One of the really nice ones is the good old-fashioned observation deck. On Pursuit, it's called the living room. There are huge windows looking out with 270-degree wraparound angles. Fantastic views from just about everywhere. Observation decks have almost been phased out on modern ships, or they're behind a paywall and only available to suite guests. So it's really great to see there's still one here on these older ships. And there's a great mix of seating. My wife loved these chaise longues. We really like the living room, as it has a purpose both day and night. At all times there's an active bar, as well as a mini buffet, offering upmarket gourmet light bites. The food changes constantly, and we popped in at various times of the day and were happy with the offerings. You'll get light lunch bites, as well as evening tapas, as well as at tea time. In the evening is a very popular spot for pre- and post-dinner cocktails, where there's a live band. And you'll note throughout the video the staff-to-passenger ratio is fantastic. We never ever had a problem ordering. More than sufficient staff throughout the ship. And at night, one of our favourite spots both before and after dinner, it's called the Den, to you and me, the piano bar. It's a really atmospheric spot to while away an hour or two, listen to some music, catch up and watch the world go by. We sat in here most evenings listening to music and trying out the range of cocktails. When was the last time you had a grasshopper or a glow-in-the-dark chemistry experiment such as this? Cocktail challenge number 4, Bay Breeze. So I am enjoying the atmosphere in here. It's got a great, nice bluesy, bar-y feel to it. Bluesy feel. Each evening there was live music of different genres from the resident house band and musicians.
No, I won't. Oh, I won't. No, I won't be afraid.
Before we go on, I must point out that everything aboard the Pursuit is available to all guests. There is no class structure or ship within a ship. Nothing is off limits. This is in stark contrast to other cruise lines who are rapidly introducing tiers of cruising, such as the Yacht Club, the Retreat or the Haven. On those, some of the best, nicest parts of the ship are closed off to all but the highest grades of cabin. Not so on Azamara. Assume the entire ship is suite class. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please do give it a thumbs up, as it lets us know on the right track, and we'll try to put out more of this type of material. Okay, still lots more of the ship to see. Coming up, we'll show you the cabins, the show lounge, and some unique spots. First now, let's turn to food, which I know for a lot of people is a big part of the decision-making process. I'll show you the main dining room, the buffets, and 2 premium additional fee outlets. Right, let's help you imagine what it's like in the main dining room, and we'll show you a short selection of what we had throughout the cruise. The main dining room with Azamara is called the Discoveries Restaurant, and it's included in your fare price. Before you get to the dining section, there is a bar for cozy drinks, and important to note on Azamara, this dining room is anytime. There's no need to select early or late seatings. You stroll in anytime you wish, which is far more flexible and less stressful. and there are plenty of tables for two, should you wish. The decor is very much in keeping with the rest of the ship. Lots of woods, silver, elegant ceiling lighting, and crisp table linens and cutlery. The menu is quite varied and has dishes of the day, as well as an always available section. And before we even get to it, you'll see I'm holding a sparkling wine, as drinks are complimentary. Bring them on. So let me quickly take you through a selection of some of the meals we had. We won't show you everything, but just a sample a few to get an idea. Peking duck, look at that. It was on the specials for tonight because it's Asian night. I am not an expert on Peking duck, but I tell you what, that to me tastes delicious. Escargot.
Garlic bread on it.
You use this as a benchmark, don't you, escargot, to rate cruise lines?
Beautifully garlicky, just the way I like it, and not very salty.
Look at that. Seafood chowder. Okay, and what do we have here?
I think we have a selection of like roast vegetables.
Well, yes, I've got a shrimp, a honey glazed shrimp.
Calamari, shrimp, scallop, beautiful plating.
And strip loin. And it comes with a very nice butter, they call a Parisian butter. If there was smell-o-vision, you can smell that wafting up. The most fantastic char-grilled smell with the roast potatoes. Okay.
Thank you.
And more wine? Which one I give you there?
Rosé, please.
Rose.
Poppy seed roll, cheese garlic twist, and that's poppy seed.
And here we go. Well, this is an interesting trio of desserts which comes all together. You've got lava cake with ice cream and a mocha sauce. Ooh, let's see.
Wow.
Look at that oozing. That's passing the ooze test.
Very good. Cream. That's it. Then
You've got to say, their dessert chef is very good.
the plating is very beautiful.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Looks like a musical note. The chocolate truffle cake.
I think it's one of the more aesthetically beautiful dining room desserts.
Isn't it? And we got compass blackberries.
Very, very beautifully presented.
I really didn't need dessert. I tell you what it was. I saw somebody on the table over there having one. And I thought I've got to have one. I was gonna just have like a slice of orange.
You have to say it is very beautifully presented. Love, love, love.
Shards of chocolate. Let me hold that up against the sea. How does that look? In general, we give the main dining room a solid 9 out of 10. Selections were varied enough, and the service was really excellent. For our cruise, how would you rate cuisine aboard?
I think it's all about the cuisine. It's so important to the experience. I would give it a star, nothing less.
And on the way out, it's great to see Azamara holding on to some old cruise ship traditions. In this case, the waiters singing happy birthday to passengers. Now, what Azamara is really famous for is their white nights, where the deck is festooned with twinkling lights. Tables and chairs are laid out around the pool and upper decks, and a lavish deck feast is laid on, a bit like you used to see on cruise ships back in the day. You then party the night away under the stars. It's a fantastic evening and a real highlight, and we'll show you exactly how that felt, how the ship was set up, and behind the scenes in our upcoming second video. Right, we're about to show you the cabins aboard, but first, after dinner, you probably want to be entertained, and traditionally, you'd like to go to the theatre. On the Pursuit, it's called the Cabaret Lounge. This is us arriving. The lounge is almost in the round, which gives a more immersive and intimate feel. Unlike huge cruise ships, you get much closer to the action here. That's the captain, Antonio, and I must say, he was very visible. You'd often see him around the ship. He didn't hide at all, unlike some other cruise lines where the captain is nowhere to be seen. Also, those complimentary drinks can be brought to you at any time. Across our cruise, there was a selection of song and dance routines. In fact, them calling it a cabaret lounge is a good idea, as that's what you feel like when you're there. We really do like the setting and the ambiance and prefer it to the cinema-style theatres with tightly packed seating you get on newer ships of today. Over the course of our cruise, there was a selection of song and dance, the onboard entertainers featuring their particular forte. A bit of ballet meets dance floor. The assistant cruise director gave us some opera. There was some sultry late-night jazz. And those cocktails kept coming. Oh, and there are mocktails and speciality coffee too. Still to come, the buffet and speciality dining. Just to let you know, a quick note about our channel. Here at the Ritzy Travel Guide, we're now on Instagram. I know it's been a long time coming. So if you want to know what we're up to almost in real time between our YouTube videos going out, you can check and find us here on Instagram, also under the name Ritzy Travel Guide. And I've put a link in the bio and description of this video. So follow us along on Instagram. Right, now let's take a look at the cabins. And as these ships were built almost 25 years ago, and we were last on this ship in 2005, I must say before we got on, we were a little bit worried. We were wondering how shabby these cabins might be. What condition were they? So, let's take a look. Here we go, cabin 6028. Bated breath. Ta-da! Let's get some lights on, we can have a look. Put the lights on, easier to see. What do we think? I have to say it's a lovely looking cabin, isn't it?
For me, very important is the sheets and the pillows.
How fluffy, embroidered,
Very smooth.
isn't it?
I think it's a very high thread count, which is lovely.
Let's have a look. What have we got? We've got a balcony cabin. There is complimentary room service, so I think a breakfast or two out on the balcony as we drift into one of these Italian Riviera ports will be fantastic. Yes, I think maybe Eggs Benedict coastline wafts by is in order. Shall I do a bed test? Right, okay. Let's check it out. All these pillows are comfortable. I tell you what, if you were going to give these a rating of 0 to 10, these are about 11 or 12. They are so soft. I don't know how many ducks, poor ducks, I don't know how many ducks were in here, but they are comfortable.
Are they feathered?
I think they must be. Let's go through the gadgetry. We have some lights here.
Everything is compact. Look.
You can do some dentistry while we're at it.
Dentistry, very good. Look into the crevices. Surreptitiously tucked underneath here is a USB.
We have USB sockets underneath both sides. We've been on some cruises where there's only USB one side. Okay, what socketry have we got here?
Everything, basically.
Alright, we've got quite a lot of sockets, haven't we?
European, the UK.
Makeup table and chair. We've got the statuary. Anything like champagne or anything? Caviar in there? What have we got? Some lobster?
I think it's a large enough safe.
Okay, what have you found?
This umbrella, 2 very plush robes. You can see the bathroom is small.
They did say it's small. We haven't opened that one yet.
Right.
Okay, you might need to set your expectations to a lower level.
No.
Bathroom. Expectations set lower, because if there is a criticism online, is that the bathrooms are the size of a mousetrap. So, let's take a look. What do we think? It actually looks nicely done. I think the decor is fine.
I think they manage the space best they can. It looks very plush. It's actually perfectly fine.
It is small, isn't it? But it's nicely done.
On the smaller side.
What products have we got in the corner here?
Eco-friendly products.
Okay, now, there is the dreaded shower curtain. That comes in for a lot of criticism online.
Why?
Well, because it's clingy and sticks to you. It's not glass.
It's not that small. Maybe I'm a bit tiny, but it isn't really that small.
Right, let's do some investigating. What's in here? Right, we have a safe. That's fine.
That looks well sized.
It's not bad, because sometimes you can't get an iPad in there. Yeah, I think you could get an iPad in
You
there.
can get an iPad, an SLR.
Yeah, that's not bad. Should we have a look at the cupboards? What do we think they look like? That's not bad, is it? I tell you what, for a small ship, because really... So with a reasonably decent sized TV, what's that, 40-inch or something like that? Got a few channels, got some weather, got several news stations. And nice to see there's still the old towel art going on cruise lines these days. Don't often see that anymore. Tell you what, balcony's quite small, but it's not bad. I'm going to enjoy sitting on that one as we cruise round the Italian Riviera. So as you can see, we were very impressed with the cabins. Yes, the bathroom is a little bit small, but that's a small price to pay for good quality apart from that. Now, included in the Azamara fare is complimentary room service. And that is very much a rarity in cruising today. It's normally very much chargeable. Not so here. And we had 2 breakfasts on the balcony, and in our upcoming video too, we'll give you our verdict on the Azamara room service. Right, now it's time for the buffet. And straight off I have to say 2 things. Firstly, the setting is done really very well, and way more tables per passenger than you would normally find at a buffet. Some other ships, it's an absolute bun fest in the buffet, almost a zoo-like situation. In fact, on some cruise lines now, we don't even bother to go to the buffet, it's just too much hassle. Not so here. In general, we have to say the quality of cuisine at the buffet is very good. We tested it at breakfast, lunch and dinner, and here's a small representative sample of some of what we found. The feature of the Spanish night is the paella.
Masa, calamari, scallops,
We have frito misto. We have some breaded crab and shrimp cakes at the back. Some pan-seared garupa. We have some marinated Cajun chicken breast. Some grilled pork loin. Roasted potatoes. Some vegan cacciatore. And some steamed vegetables. Right, fresh local oysters. We have some marinated mussel. Ooh, I didn't notice this before. What's this?
This is salmon.
Salmon! Oh, that looks good. Okay, could I have a slice of that, please? That looks very good. A huge slice. Well, it's a very big piece. Never mind, we'll have a huge slice of that. Look at that. That looks good, doesn't it?
Yes.
Salmon with spinach, isn't it? Very nice, thank you. Is a very good gourmet selection. And we have a sushi counter. Not very often you see on a cruise line a sushi. So you've got sashimi, which is the raw fish here. And you've got the selection of sushis here. Looks very nice. Baby shrimp ceviche. Smoked salmon in a variety of different ways. We've got some calamari salads, some shrimp and crab salads, some herrings, some seafood salad, and some octopus. Who likes octopus? Have a look at the dessert corner. Very colourful. Maybe they said to the chefs, produce something with different colours. We have some hazelnut gatto, and at the back we have some berry tarts. We have some apple crumble. Look at that, some more tarts here. We have some chocolate and raspberry pastry. And we have some chocolate, it builders chocolate icing puffs. We've got some cheeses. Look at that. We've got Etoise, which is the most stinky of the French cheeses. Oh, they've got little cookies up there. I wonder if you can ask for cookies out of the jar. We also really enjoyed the rear outdoor deck. Newer cruise ships are doing away with outdoor seating areas like this, which I think is an absolute shame, because in the right weather, in the right season, there's nowhere better to sit. There's also plenty of staff out here, in good numbers to bring you whatever you'd like.
Right, I guess we have to do the mandatory ooze test.
In our second video, we'll show you the breakfast buffet selections and what you can expect to get. To the other side of the buffet, midships, heading towards the pool, is another casual dining outlet, their outdoor barbecue station. But it's a lot more extensive than the typical poolside barbecue, with more upmarket options and gourmet selections. We've got upscale burgers, steaks, fish, and a mini buffet next to it. At night, it turns into a more formal al fresco barbecue. We went there twice during our cruise. There's an open kitchen so you can see the chefs preparing your meal. We had melt-in-the-mouth ribs, cordon bleu chicken, and steak. And there's also a gelateria with complimentary selections. Oh, look at that. Coming to our chairs. Oh, hang on. There we go, thank you very much.
Difficult to say.
You weren't going to, were you? But he came past and you felt...
Normally, you have to go to the ice cream, but if the ice cream comes to you, it's only polite to say yes.
Well, absolutely. We'll take 3.
Well, that's too much.
Right, it's now time to take a look at speciality dining. should you part with your cash and pay up for them, as these are not included in the fare and are an additional cost. If you pre-book, they're approximately $35 per head, or $55 if you wait to pay on board. Here's the eatery called Prime Sea. It's a steakhouse, and like so many steakhouses at sea, it seems to be compulsory for it to be in dark brown colour tones. But I tell you what, it does have nice large panoramic windows to the side and the aft. There's crisp white table linen, and that obligatory wood-panelled feel to it. So what do they serve? Well, amongst the items on the menu, they're offering steak, various ways, herb-coated rack of lamb, duck confit, chateaubriand, and Chilean sea bass. And for dessert, the delectable-sounding Scotch whisky chocolate cake. Or there's banoffee pie, that's a very British dessert, try it if you haven't already, as well as cheeses, soufflé, and gelato. The only comment I'd make is that probably I wouldn't take the tables right at the front, because the glass is steeply raked, as you can see. You're almost jammed up against the glass. It is a bit close, if we're being honest. You do have to bend under the windows as you go by. It's not an angle that they tend to show you, but that's why there's only 2 seats facing here, because, can you see there, look? It's very, very close. Now, there are 2 restaurants back to back, and just like in a country mansion, there's a little, what they call a rat runway, where you can secretly get from one area to the other. A bit like Disney does, they have these back of house little scurry lanes, and there's one here. You think you've come to the end of the restaurant, and then here, behind this panel, here, behind this panel, you think nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, and then guess what? You're an Aqualina the other side, which is the Italian. So that side Italian, that side steakhouse. It's a bit like on a set, isn't it? On a stage. And again, a very similar setup. You've got this aft facing. Now these tables are set back a little bit, not quite so tight getting under there. Not sure why the steakhouse hasn't pushed their tables back a little bit. So what does Aqualina have to lure us in? Well, it's an Italian menu, molto bene. You can sample delights such as pancetta wrapped scallops, or lobster ravioli, in fact pasta any number of ways, and for dessert, the heavenly sounding limoncello mousse, or the hazelnut chocolate soufflé, bellissimo. Now, we didn't actually dine at any of these 2 speciality restaurants. Why? Well, we were intending to, but the quality of the cuisine at the included restaurants was so good, we really didn't feel like we needed to. Now, if you've eaten too much, perhaps you want to head to the gym. My wife loves a good workout, so I had 2 thorough sessions in there. I popped in just to report back to you what it looks like, and her assessment was the gym is pretty good. It's a nice spacious facility here. You've got a workout section this end, where they do morning stretches and other vigorous activities.
Look at the view I'm having.
It's a stunning view, isn't it? I can get the same view in the coffee shop upstairs. How many kilometres are you rowing? 12 kilometres.
9.5 to go. So come back in about 45 minutes.
Well done her. I did nothing of the sort. In fact, I headed straight for coffee and biscuits at the in-ship coffee parlour. On Azamara, it's called the Mosaic Bar, and you have complimentary speciality coffee and snacks. The light bites vary throughout the day. It can be anything from a charcuterie selection in the mornings, afternoon tea, and savoury canapes at night. It's a nice cosy corner, right in the heart of the ship, and perfect for people watching. But as we sat there glancing across at the main atrium, we reflected upon the fact that we'd been on this exact ship 25 years earlier, though at the time it didn't belong to Azamara, it belonged to another cruise company called Swan Hellenic, and I always find it fascinating to see how a ship has evolved over time. What did it look like then, and what does it look like now? I'd like to take a step back in time to see how the ship used to look like. Let me show you a little bit of footage from then. Excuse the video quality, cameras weren't so good in those days. At the time, the ship was owned by a company called Swan Hellenic, and it was called the Minerva II. My wife and I were on a cruise with my parents, sailing out of Barbados through the Panama Canal, down to Ecuador and Peru. This was the sail away, and a local steel band had been invited aboard. They didn't have a white night in those days, it was called a Caribbean cocktail party. The layout of the ship was pretty much the same as now, though the colour scheme was a rich red and gold in those days. Where the Den Bar is now, it was called the Wheeler Bar. Very similar to what it is now. Why change a classic ship that's getting a lot right? This cruise was a fascinating 21-night sailing, with great ports such as here, Caracas, twinkling away in the night sky. Here we go, sailing past the old peace boat. By the way, we do have a lot of archive footage of our cruises from the past, and if you'd like to see more of those in future editions, just drop a comment in the box down below. We always like to hear from people, so if there's anything about this video we think we haven't got right, or you think we should have mentioned slightly different, please do make a comment. We always love to hear from people. So you've seen all of the video of the ship. What do we really think? Should you be going out and booking an Azamara cruise? Well, let's go through all of the pluses and minuses one by one. First off, throughout the video, I've been fairly complimentary about our experience with Azamara. And that is absolutely genuine. We really did enjoy the cruise. The vast majority we think they got right.
The service is next level because it's genuine, it's intuitive. They really are here for the guest.
I think one of the better customer services we've had on a cruise.
They really fly over. It's one of those things, if I'm dropping a fork, I feel as though they're going to catch it before it touches the ground.
Now the title of this video has always been, is this the most affordable luxury cruise out there? So to the numbers, because this video is deciding whether Azamara is affordable. Well, naturally it does depend on the sector, the time of the year, and whether you're traveling in peak season or not. Factor in around $180 to $200 per person per night. Sometimes it can be a bit less if you catch an absolute steal, and Azamara is pretty much all-inclusive. But how inclusive? Well, included in your fare is tipping, food in all the outlets expect the speciality, room service is totally complimentary, as are drinks, alcoholic and non, some cocktails and speciality coffee also included. Now there is an optional upscale drinks package should you wish to buy that, which gets you more selections and it's totally up to you whether you would go for that. And it's important to note that the included drinks are available at all hours around the clock, not like some other maybe cheat lines which say that their included drinks are only available at mealtimes. With Azamara, it's at any time. For us, when we're talking about value for money, we think Azamara is priced extremely competitively. In fact, surprisingly so. Why? I really don't know. Perhaps it's just less brand awareness. Now, who is this cruise not for? Because all cruises can't be for everybody. There's got to be somebody that this cruise wouldn't be aimed at. Firstly, really, it's clearly not aimed at kids. Not to say they're banned, you are indeed entitled to bring a child, but there's no kids club, and most of the activities probably would find them getting bored. Secondly, there is no casino aboard. So those of you who like a flutter, I'm afraid you're going to have to wait till you go ashore, maybe when you go to that casino in Monte Carlo. So far so good, but no cruise line is perfect, and we do have a few items in the minus column. Let's go through them. First off, the Wi-Fi. It really was quite shocking. I wish I could tell you otherwise, but it really wasn't. But if you think that isn't good, which we didn't, you can also opt for the faster, which is supposed to be Starlink, which is supposed to get you lightning speed around the ship. Sadly for us, it didn't really make much a difference. There were frequent dropped connections. It got a little bit frustrating. So if you're somebody that absolutely relies on Wi-Fi, you're going to have to take your luck. Somewhat surprisingly, activities during the day are somewhat slim pickings. Yes, there are afternoon quizzes and such, but pretty much during daylight hours, you're left to your own devices. I think this goes to the fact that Azamara is a port-heavy, destination-focused line. They're expecting you to go ashore during the day. Yes, there are afternoon quizzes and such, but in general, you are left to your own devices if you're aboard the ship during the day. And believe it or not, those two negatives, the lack of daytime activities and the Wi-Fi, are pretty much the only things I could fault. And in over 25 years of cruising, we generally have a far larger fault list than that. The fact that Azamara only has two that we can identify on our list is a pretty good showing.
I really appreciate.
Pardon?
I really like this.
You really like this ship? Tell me what you really like about it.
It's like, you know, we went on a tour today, and of course we could stay out all day, but sometimes it's nice when the ship is efficiently run. We came back for a tender, 10 minutes, a lovely lunch, and then you head out again. It's like you kickstart the day again. It's so important to have a ship that you come back to and you feel relaxed the minute you start on board.
So to put it all in a nutshell and wrap up our thoughts on Azamara, I'm often asked by people which is a cruise line that takes you back to how cruising used to be. After all, we did put out a couple of videos recently about how cruising used to be in the past, and Azamara comes pretty close to that. Manageable numbers aboard, enough facilities to entertain and amuse you, no heaving queues, you're on a ship that actually looks like a ship, not a condominium at sea, and you can get into ports and destinations that most larger ships just can't anymore. In our final analysis, would we recommend Azamara? Do we think you should go out and book it? Now remember, this is not a paid review, this is entirely our own opinion. Yes, we would. We think Azamara is getting so much right. I do hope this has been helpful to you. Don't forget, we have video 2 coming out imminently, telling you all about the experience on board, the ports we visited, and some of those other special events on Azamara. As soon as video 2 is available, I will put it here for you. In the meantime, we have several other videos on our channel for you to watch here. Thank you so much for joining us on the Ritzy Travel Guide, and we'll see you in those.